My name is James, I'm a knee, foot and ankle specialist and a keen runner, and today we're going to compare the Hoka Mach 6 and the Asics Novablast 4. The first thing we're going to talk about is the difference in stack height and in heel drop. So in the Mach 6 you've got a 37mm heel on the rear and you've got 32mm in the forefoot, giving you a heel drop of 5mm, so difference between the back to the front of the shoe. Contrastingly, you've got a slightly higher stack and a higher heel drop in Novablast. You've got 41.5 centimeters in the heel and you've got 33.5 centimeters in the forefoot. Secondly, there's a big difference in weight. So in the men's size 9 in the Hoka Mach 6, you're looking at 210 grams. Compared to in the men's Novablast 4, you're looking at roughly 258 grams. And in the Mach 6 women's size 8, you're looking at 190 grams compared to 224 grams in the Novablast. Slightly lower drop, lower stack, and slightly lighter in the Mach 6 so far. Then in terms of fit, what we have in the Mach 6 is a nice snug fit in the heel to midfoot, and then it tapers inward on the forefoot, so it's quite a narrow shoe overall. Whereas in the Asics Novablast, you've got a relatively normal width on the heel to midfoot, and you've got a nice roomy toe box. So when you compare the two shoes, you can see it's nice and tapered in the Mach 6 and in the Novablast slightly wider. So personally I found it a little bit too narrow in the Mach 6 and I'd choose a wide version if that was available. Whereas the Novablast 4 was really comfy, really roomy and allowed my toes to splay. The upper in the Novablast is a woven cover, whereas in the Mach 6 it's a creel jacquard knit. So then in terms of cushioning, what you get in the Novablast 4 is a super spongy, relatively resilient foam, especially in the heel. So if you're a big heel striker, in combination with the heel counter and the extra padding on the heel, it really makes a smooth transition from heel to forefoot. It's got that extra bit of padding underneath the forefoot, so if you like that bit of extra protection underneath the ball of your foot, it's super comfortable. There is a little bit of bounce back, a little bit of feedback, but probably better for longer runs as opposed to the Mach 6. It's more of a racing shoe, so a little bit lower stack means it's a little bit firmer, so it gives you a real responsive feel. There's a real pace to the shoe, especially when you're going at faster speeds. Then in terms of stability, they're both what we classify as a neutral stable shoe. So both shoes have sidewalls on the heel to the midfoot, a little bit deeper sidewalls on the Novablast, so it cradles the foot a little bit like a deep heel cup that would create an orthotic, so it helps stabilize that ankle. Whereas on the Mach they're also present but not as prominent. You've got a posterior lateral bevel on both shoes, so that means that on the outside it's a little bit beveled to ensure a smoother transition when you make contact with the ground. In terms of stiffness, they're both quite stiff shoes, so in the forefoot it's a little bit hard to bend, and that really helps propulsion when you have the aggressive forefoot rocket that both of these have. So that's from the midfoot to the forefoot, it curves upward, and that helps with the push-off phase of the gait cycle. Overall, two excellent shoes. What we'd probably say about the Mach 6, it's a little bit lighter, a little bit more tapered on the forefoot, more of a racing shoe, a faster shoe, whereas the Novablast is a little bit wider on the toe box, super cushioned underneath the foot, but it's still resilient, still gives you that bit of feedback, so probably better for longer runs, whereas the Mach 6 is a much faster shoe in our eyes. If you've got any questions on either shoe, please leave them in the comment section. If you're interested in shoes, we've got links in the description below, and if you found the video helpful and interested in more content on the latest shoes, then check out our other videos, subscribe to the channel and like the video.